Okay, we are in Shmuel, the book of Samuel, and we're on chapter 21. It says, "Vayakam v'yelach," and he got up and he went. V'yonatan ba'ala'ir, and Yonatan went to the city. And so we're assuming that it must be David who got up and left, right? It makes sense. Either they both got up and left. Metzudas David says, "Vayakam v'yelach," it's referring to David. Fine. So David got up and left, and Yonatan went to the city. Vayavo David Noveh, and so David came to Noveh, El Achimelech HaKohen, to Achimelech the Kohen. V'yechar Achimelech, and Achimelech was trembling. They cried David. He was a little afraid, didn't know what's going. He goes to David, to meet David. V'yomer lo, and he says to him, "Madua talavadecha, why are you alone? And there's no man with you." What's going on here? So what's Metzudas David again? Let's go. It's some pshat here. So he said, he hurried in a trembling manner to meet him. He says, "Why are you alone? It's not normal," he said, "for a great officer like yourself to be walking alone. So what's happening?" And the Malbim says in this, "Madua ta'alavedecha she'im holech b'tzarchei milchama ayeh hatzava." If you're walking for the needs of the army, for the war, where is the army? V'im b'shlichut hamelech, and if you're coming as a messenger of the king, ayeh na'arav mishotav, where are your arm bearers and where are your servants? In other words, it's not fitting for you to be alone. So either way, you should have had people with you. So what's happening? That's why he was afraid. He wasn't afraid for any other reason. What's he going to be afraid of David for? Okay, so, by the way, Noveh is toward Nov. Just for the, okay? The place is Nov. Okay. So what happens if V'yomer David Achimelech Kohen? So David said to Achimelech the Kohen, "Amelech tzivani davar," the king commanded me on a matter. Vayomer elai, and he said to me, "Ish al yedam umam," let no man know anything at a davar shanochi shalechacha, on the matter that I am sending you, and on that I am commanding you. Ve'adan arim yodati, and the young man, my arms bearers yodati, they know they're in a place, Amakom Poloni Almoni, in a secret place. Poloni Almoni is, like I said, it's just a general name for no place. I'm not going to tell you, they're in hiding. Okay? And so, again, Metzudas David says, Lo Mashal Melchachani, it's not that the king sent me. Lo Medaber Shlichot Shivani, it's not a matter of Shlichot, of being a messenger that I'm commanded. And that's why I came to you separately. And the people that serve me, I told them to go to a specific place, which is hidden, and it should be revealed, and they're going to wait for me until I come. Okay, that's how Metzudas David says that. And then Malbim continues to explain his way. It says, he commanded that no man should know the matter of itself, and even to the place that he's going there, nobody should know anything. And that which I commanded, and that which I commanded you. Fine, the king commanded me. That's why he could not take a person with him, so to know the place. He also didn't leave the people in a known place that he would identify. Okay. So that's why he told the kids, so I told them, I informed them, and I set the boys that they stay in that particular place, hidden from any man. So one is saying I hid them there, the other one is saying I stationed them there so that they could protect that place. Bottom line is, by the way, let's understand something. David is making the story up.
Yeah.
Okay, he's clearly making it up. He needs something from Achimelech, and that's why he went to Nov. And it's a.
What's he in a position to do for him? Why would he go to see him?
We're going to find out. But he has a sword and everything. He has food and a sword. He needs provisions, so that's why he's going to Achimelech. No, remember there was no telegraph service.
This Kohen, I think it's useful given the political climate of the time. Were the Kohanim, I hate to say agents of the state or agents of the government, was it not among their jobs to preserve order? And that if he knew what was going on with David and Saul, would he not have to report it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He would not have helped him. Achimelech would have not helped him. Absolutely not. That's his. He will claim that. I didn't know. Again, there was no telegraph service. There's nobody's riding through the city, and nobody's yelling at everybody. It's spared out, and that's why David's taking advantage of that. He knows that there's no way that Achimelech or the people of Nov are going to know anything, so he goes. He's known for who he is. There's a question about that, but he doesn't. But Achimelech has no idea as to what's happening. If he did, he would not have helped him.
He seems to be a little nervous.
Well, he's nervous because David came alone. That's why. That's the problem. He doesn't understand why is David coming along. You know what? When things don't smell right, you don't know what to do with that. Smell, you know what I mean by smell right. When they don't smell right, we're hesitant. We don't know, but at the same time, we have no real reason not to believe the person. He came up with a good story, you know.
Your friend comes up and says, I need to borrow your car. I need it right now. What do you do?
No. I say no. No. Not happening. No. Lawnmowers are one thing, but cars, no. You have to really know the person and know what's But if a person would, let's say your father or I don't know, your kid comes to you, or somebody you know well, or you respect or you trust, or they can afford to pay. If they crash it,
someplace else at the time they come to you.
Say it again.
Or who should be someplace else at the time.
Right. And then they suddenly show up at your door. You're thinking, well, what's going on? And then they come up with a good story. And again, you have to decide: do I trust you? If I trust you, if I have no reason not to trust you, so then I'm going to probably give you what you want. And I'm going to trust that. But otherwise, I won't. If you don't come up with a good story, then I'm going to say, no. But he's coming up with a good story. So, so I can't, his story is, I can't tell you. Okay. So he says, Mayish tachat yadcha chamisha lechem tana biyadi. And now he says, what is there under your hand? And 5 loaves of bread. Give me from what your hand. Or nimsa, that which is found. So he says, okay. The Mesilas David says, since my path is a secret, I can't find bread, I can't acquire bread from anybody. Except for that, the bread that's in your hand. So if you have 5 loaves, give that to me. Or nimsa. If you don't have 5 breads, tena nimsa, give me what's found. Pachot, less than 5.
He's not acting like somebody who needs help.
Huh?
He's acting like he expects it, like he's owed it.
Yes.
Rather than, may I please have it?
Well, because he does. If he says, may I please, so they're going to say, why does the king's second in charge, the king's son-in-law, need something? You have the king. What do you bother me for? So you owe it to me. This is what I need. I need this, and you're going to give it to me. Shkayach. Thank you so much. Okay. And so Malbim says, Hinchati Sham Chamisha Na'arim Rachok Me'ir Mushav. Since I put 5. Now, why 5 pieces of bread? Why 5 loaves? Since I have my 5 boys a little bit away from the place where I have them settled, give me 5 loaves, Chamisha Na'arim, for the 5 boys. Or Im Ein Lechas Chamisha. You don't have 5, so then give me what's in your hand, what's found in your hand, whatever the case is. I want to feed the boys. It's not for me, the boys. The army has to eat. Army travels on his stomach, right? Okay, so let's go. So he said, V'yana Kohen, et David, V'yomer. So the Kohen answered David and he said, Ein lechem chol el tachatiti. I don't have regular bread within my power here. Ki im lechem kodesh yesh, but rather this is a holy bread. This is the bread for Hashem, and so on and so forth. So you can't lechem upon him. He says this is a showbread, and we already took it away from the shulchan, from the table, and now we have to burn the incense with it. So he said, so it's not just regular bread. So if the women have to be guarded, even from women, so he says, these young men that David talked about, he considered that it's true that it's for them. He was going to bring it to them. He says, and he said, even if the guys had kept themselves separate from women, in other words, from too much carry, they didn't have nocturnal emissions. Even still, the bread is be forbidden to non-Kohanim. We call Makom Ratzah La'achila Machma Gadol Hara'avon. However, he wanted to feed them because of their great hunger, Ulam Davka, but still, they had to be tahor, regardless. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. Now, here it's an intro, this is David. Again, with the Malbim, it says like this. According to Pshat, Hayabiyado Trumat Lech Meitodes, he had the Truma, I guess Hebrew often they would call it, translate, of the breads of thanks. Mavuar Bezvachim, I explained in the Gemara Bezvachim that bread in a noheg rak bisman bamagadola. And that type of bread was only utilized the time that there was that you could offer things on a bama gadola, which would not have to be the regular altar in Shiloh, but it could have been anywhere, a big barbecue. Mikol makom, however, hayadarkam laharimam latet lakohen makrif. The normal way was to, however, he says the normal way was to lift it up and to give it to the Kohen who is offering it. Just like it's a way that we have to give the Kohen who's giving the sacrifice the breast and the thigh. Shagam and even if they're not noheg, they're again accustomed to the bama. Kol makom dino kikadshim kalim. And even so, that the law would be with kachim kalim that they can only be eaten by non-kohanim, but they cannot be eaten by people who are tameh, who are spiritually impure. So that's why he says, the boys have to be separate from women. Others, they cannot have the nocturnal emission. By the way,
What does that have to do with the bread?
Because the bread had to be eaten in a level of spiritual purity, because it was showbread or kadri kalim. It was a high level bread. In other words, our breads that we get from Martin's or anything else, okay? So that's what we call chulin, breads of chulin. We don't have to be in any special spiritual level to eat that bread. Ordinary bread, right. But when you get to the kadri kalim, kadashim kalim, so there that's a higher level.
That's sacred bread.
Sacred bread.
All right, is sacred and showbread synonymous?
Yes,
They are the same thing.
Yes. Right. So what happens is you have to be you cannot be spiritually impure. You have to be spiritually pure to eat that.
Is this when it says we've talked about this, when it says on the side of matzah, challah is taken, that means that charity, that 10% was set aside, or
No, that's not. Challah is a portion, not 10%.
Well, is this bread, is that sacred bread what was taken from the
No, challah was taken from this bread, but this bread had to be, it was even of a higher, it was a show bread. So on the shulchan you would have 12, 6 and 6, right? So 12 of loaves that would last from Shabbat to Shabbat. So that's one opinion that says that's what these things were. But then again, they could only be eaten, they had to be eaten by Kohanim. Yeah. So when it came to the other one, which is what the Malbim's going with, it was Truma Lachme Toda, breads of Thanksgiving. So again, they would have to still be done in the same manner. But the difference would be that it wasn't only restricted to Kohanim, rather it was allowed to everybody, but the proviso being that the non-Kohen eating it had to be spiritually pure. Okay? By the way, this is one of the stories that the Goyim pick on with regard to Jesus. Okay, develop that? Yeah, so this is interesting. When in the story of one of the stories of Jesus is that he's on Shabbat or something, I forget this. He tells the boys to eat from to rip things up from the ground, to eat it, whatever it was. And so the storyline goes, if I remember correctly, the rabbis want to condemn Jesus for allowing him to do that. And he said, well, what about David? David allowed the boys to eat from his breads. And so, from his breads, and but it's a total misunderstanding of the story. Total misunderstanding of the story, and you can't convince them that they're wrong. It's just a total misunderstanding of the story. But I remember that this is one of the things they brought up, and so I have to keep showing them, you guys don't know how to read Hebrew. It's as simple as that. You don't understand how to read it. You don't understand what you're reading. You just read the English and you think, showbread was this, only for Kohanim, therefore they should have it, and so on and so forth. And he broke it because he was starving. No, he wasn't starving, first of all. He didn't have boys there. He wanted to get provisions. He's lying. There's period end. Okay? So, was he in a state of purity? Probably. He probably went to the mikvah. I have no problem with David going to the mikvah. But that's all it was. Okay, I said. Okay, enough. So it's but that's really what they do. They take it out of context to prove that Jesus didn't do anything wrong when he told the boys to break Shabbat. By the way, he was wrong. He was wrong. Period. So for all the Christians out there, he was wrong. Okay. It was a total misunderstanding of this story. Okay, but I remember that one line that they always try to throw at you. Okay, so let's go on with the story. So he says, V'yan David a Kohen. So David answered the Kohen, V'yomer lo. He said to him, Ki im isha atzur lanu kitmol shilshon. So he says that it's how do you want to say that? Unless a woman is atzur lanu, kept away from us. Atzur mimeno, kept away from him. So he says that like yesterday and the day before, but Seiti, when I left, V'yu kli hana'arim kodesh, so the vessels of the young boys are kodesh, which means they are tahor, they're spiritually clean. V'hu derech chol, and this is a way of the normal way. He says v'alechem, and the bread was taken from the shulchan and the bezich and the incense were offered. Karov hu, they're close to being cholin, not profaned. Regular bread, shiatzmi de meila, then they no longer are part of the prohibition. Sheyu lo heter kohanim, that they would be when they were in the time that they were allowed to the Kohen. In other words, if something's only allowed to the Kohen, and it was from the table, so that if you would misuse that sort of stuff, you would be guilty of misappropriation of holy objects. He says, but since you already gave the vazichan, the incense, you already burned it, it's no longer part of that prohibition. It's past that. Now it's like chulin. Don't worry about the boys; they're all clean, and everything's fine. Aviav ki hayom yikdash, and even the whole day is holy in the kli. So he says, afilu im hayom, even if the day even if the day began with being kodesh on the holy on the table, hayiti zakuk litfalo misham, I be forced to take it from there to eat and to feed us she'achzu balmos, because we're hungry, and it's dangerous not to feed us. We'll die.
There is no we and there is no us.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Right, but he has to, again, the storyline is the storyline. He's maintained that he has boys there,
Yeah.
Right. So, but he's giving all the answers that he wants, that he's been asked. What are you doing with this?
Can it be known, because it says here in the commentary on 7, new showbread is baked every Friday.
Yes.
You just said they needed sort of 12 loaves. There were 5. Can we know what day this conversation took place?
Well, it has to be.
Can we?
Yeah, no, it has to be Friday because they removed it.
That's what I thought. Were they in the process still of making? Because at some point on Friday you have to stop working.
Oh no! So what happened was they cook it early on Friday, and then they put in the new showbreads, and then they take out they put it in and they take out at the same time. So, well, not exactly the same time, obviously, because you have to have an empty thing. But they never leave the shulchan empty, as it were.
Yeah.
So you would take off the bread and you would immediately replace it with the new bread. You would leave it in there from week to week to week to week, and it would last for a week. And then, after that, you would have. Then they would have to burn the vazichen. I think they call it censers in English. It was a sort of spice, I guess, and then they would be able to eat it. So that was last week's parsha, actually. Last week's parsha we dealt with this, but that's what would happen. So normally the reason that it's hard to say it's a shulchan, and that's why the Malbim doesn't like it, I think, is because the shulchan was in Shiloh. It wasn't in Nov. Well, it could have been Nov at that particular juncture, but I don't think it was. But it's so that's why he changes it to be a different type of bread. But if it's going to be showbread, that would be that would be the answer. So just go a little more into this. The Malbim now says. The Kohen answered, okay, but yeah, and David answered that they were ki'im again with unless a woman heishiv ein chashach going to carry, you have no problem with tumas carry. Said ki isha atzura, which is nimna meitanu. We haven't had women with us for 3 days. Shanachnu b'derech, that we've been on the way. V'gam ein chashash tumat kelim. We also don't have to worry about if our vessels are impure. Ki kaliya na'arim kodesh, everything is good. Ki gam ein isram misad hey to trumat lech meitoda. So there's not even a problem when it comes for the Thanksgiving breads. Ki derech chol, which means shenagu b'derech chol. They're already conducting it as normal bread. Shelo hanifuhu. Lifnei Hashem l'shem truma. You did not wave it before Hashem as a truma offering, as a heave offering. Huzaman bama katana, because this was a time of a bama katana, a small altar. Shein tenufa truma lachmei toda noeg, where we don't wave the heave offerings for the Thanksgiving breads. It's also no prohibition from it leaving the area. Because the only time you have a prohibition of leaving the area of holiness is in Shiloh, or the Kodesh Kodashim, where that Kodesh Kodashim are eaten. So there they would have to be in Shiloh. We're not Kodesh Kodashim here. Lo Kain Benova Givon, which is not the case of Nova Givon, after the Bamot were allowed. And that's what he says, V'hu derech chol v'av ki hayom yikdash b'kli, and that was the normal way. And also that the day is holy in the vessels, which means hagam shekadshu al day kli. That also they made it holy via the vessel, because they went into the administering vessels. Okay, and so that's why they made holy. With all this, he says, hu derech chol, it's still not considered Kodesh Kodashim, the holy or Kachim Kalim. In other words, the holy objects that would be that shouldn't be used. Rather, we eat it like regular bread. It can be eaten in every place by every person. Because of this, Amar Af Ki Ayom, even for today, Rasulimor. Hayom benov, now that we're in Yinov, eno kimei kedem b'Shiloh. It's not like the days in Shiloh. Shetoel kli sharei v'elzeh. That's why he says, give it to me. Fine. So he's giving all the answers. Like I said, to whoever you go to, David is not an idiot. David knows halacha. So here are and by the way, everybody recognizes that. They knew they weren't dealing with an ignoramus. So that's why the Kohen says, look, you have a problem because you want me to give you the bread. Well, your boys may not be clean. They're spiritually clean. So he says, don't worry about it. I'm going to give you that and more. He gives them all the information. You have this, all the different answers that he's giving him. So the Kohen says, okay, you got me.
Does it make sense to ask, those 5 loaves, how many people is David taking food from?
Nobody.
Why?
Well, it's
maybe that's not.
You're taking it. Okay, so you're taking it from the Kohen himself. I mean, that's what you're doing, really, because you're not. It's not the breads are a gift to the administering Kohen. So let's say he has 5. He's ultimately going to get 12, right? So he has another 7 to go. But that's his take-home pay, if you will. He's not really taking anything away from him if the guy wants to give it to him. And he knows that, David knows that the Kohen, Achimelech, who was the head guy, is not a poor guy. He knows this. Again,
he's the only one who could eat that bread.
Well, he and his family. He and the family and so on and so forth. But and Kohanim who are going to do it. So, like I said, he knows he's not taking money, taking food out of their mouth per se. It's not such a big loss. It's the question is, if you really want to get philosophical, why he did it. He can't be honest with him to say I'm on the run. That wouldn't be good because, like you said, he would have to turn him in. And so he can't do that. So he's going to save his life. That's pikuach nefesh. Fine, okay. So he's lying for that. But in the end, you would have to ask, why does he go through a whole storyline just to get the loaves and ultimately the sword and everything else he's going to get from Achimelech? You'd have to ask that. It's an interesting question. I don't know if anybody asked that.
The sword hasn't entered the story yet.
It will. I'm giving you give me headlines.
Yeah, all right.
Give me headlines here. What do they call it? A spoiler alert.
Yeah,
A spoiler
that's
alert.
fine, because
Right.
I'm wondering, well, how often do you have to ask for 5 loaves of bread? How often do these provisions provide for it? And where's he going to sleep that night? How do you keep asking for things?
Oh no! So he's not going to sleep there.
Yeah.
He's going to run. Daddy already said it. I have to go to the boy because they're in hiding. He knows he can't stay in one place.
Does he end up, just yes, no, does he end up continuing to move, or does he pick a place and stay there?
Oh, he'll be on the move. He'll always be on the move
All right.
until Shaul dies.
Yeah.
Right? And even there, he's moving around. He's not sitting. He doesn't let the what's the expression? Doesn't let the grass grow or the moss grow on him, or whatever. Right. So it's okay. So what happens? Vayitin lo Kohen. Oh, we're too late. Okay, we're at 7. We'll have to stop here. So we're at 7.